Ready?
Let's do it.
All right. I think, are we recording? We are. Look at me. I'm on the set of Cobra Kai, and I'm talking to the one and only I Hypocrite, everybody. How you doing, Pop?
Doing good. Thanks. Pleasure to be here.
Hey, man, I really appreciate this. Means a lot. I enjoy talking to people. I don't care uh, what their politics are. I just think you know what, I follow you and I see the things that I see. I think I saw one where you were having a debate with some fat communist guy. You know what I mean? What's his
I
Lush?
Vosh,
Bosh.
Vosh, Bosch, I like to call him, but yeah.
Yeah, that guy. Was there a crop picture of, was it a joke where there was like some fat chick behind him? Or
That's a real photo. That's not edited in any way, other than like
that's
some
not a
people
meme?
added me. No, that's his girlfriend that he lives with. Yeah,
Oh my God, that is awful.
yeah. If
That's
anybody, people can just if you Google Vosh girlfriend, you'll find the photo. If you want to see
wow. I
what
thought that
don't you
was
don't
a
want to
joke.
pull that up on video
No,
here
no.
for the people. That's
No,
that's
I thought it was a joke.
a
I'm
trigger warning.
I'm not kidding. I thought it was just a joke making fun of the guy, and that is just so weird. That's horrible.
It's funny. Do you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Oh, I love that. I love Larry David.
Yeah, me too. There's that funny episode about how like if a guy's married to has like an ugly wife, you respect him more. That, I don't know if you remember that one, but it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
maybe there's a threshold where it gets too ugly, and you're just like, what the fuck,
Yeah,
dude?
I don't know. Like I don't, but I think like I think he's one of the. We've all had friends that you knew once they would get laid, that was the woman they were gonna marry,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I don't know. Like, I don't want to sit here and shit on their relationship because
I do.
I don't.
No.
Yeah, sure, but I don't know her at all, or so I don't want
Yeah,
to.
that's not nice. That's not nice.
I don't get too mean with it
Yeah,
or anything, but
yeah.
yeah,
She could be
that's.
a sweet person. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you're out there,
I'm not worried about them watching. I'm just saying, like,
no, no. If it ever goes back, it's hurtful. I don't like that. Like, if it's her,
yeah, yeah, that's how
I
I
don't
feel
agree
about
with the guy at
it. I mean,
all.
she's
But
probably a piece of shit if she's like in a
right.
relationship with that dude. That would be my assumption, but I don't really know. So
Yeah, but it's weird, you meet some
benefit of the doubt.
couples and like one of them will be like horrible and the other person like I've met people where the guy is a complete and utter moron and the wife is just a beautiful, kind person. So it's weird. It's like a yin and yang kind of thing. So anyways, yeah, I watched you debate him um, and it was just frustrating uh, because your problem is, and I see, I don't let people talk,
Yeah.
right? And you let people talk,
Yeah,
right?
I do.
So
Yeah.
you let them go at it and go at it. And you're like, okay, okay, and then you try. I've seen it's very frustrating. I've seen you try to come back, and then you get cut off again, and the person just keeps going, and they're like, oh, I hypocrites losing this argument, and I'm like, no, man, he's been cut off like 4 or 5 times in a row here trying to make his argument, and it's creepy. He's a communist, right?
He calls himself a libertarian socialist, but yeah, he's a communist in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I thought he was communist.
He
That's
is. Yeah.
that's yeah. So yeah, that's weird, and he's got quite the following, eh?
Yeah, that's a thing. Like it was frustrating because of what you said, and like some people want me to debate him again, but it's just, and I thought like maybe if there's a moderator to try to
Oh, you need
temper
a
that like
moderator.
talking over, but I mean the guy's also just so dishonest, that there's almost no point talking to him because you can prove that he's lying, you can prove that he's wrong, over and over and over again. And
Right.
his fans don't care. They'll still come and harass you and call you an idiot and tell you how BTFO'd you got and this and that. I mean, I like that debate was like a year and a half ago almost at this point.
Yeah.
And I still, on an almost daily basis, I have those people come and tell me
Communists
how much I
never
suck.
forget. They never forget or forgive. They will, they're just they're nuts, you know. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, you've got quite the following. And how did you how did you accumulate that? Like, do you just say, you know what, I'm just gonna say what I mean, I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like, how did you?
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. I just started making videos and memeing on all the crazy stuff that I thought was like funny and insane, and some more serious videos too. And I have my Can't Stop Progress show. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but I got a lot of followers because of that. That's pretty popular. I don't do it on YouTube anymore because it's too spicy for them at this point. But it's just clips. I just play clips that I find on the internet, but I've
Yeah,
gotten
yeah. Is it called? Is there? What's the name of it?
it's called You Can't Stop Progress.
That's right. I've seen that. Yes, yes. And I watch it, um, and it's very. It could be kind of sad, because at the end you're going, wow, wow, you know. So this is what's happened, you know. Yeah, they are interesting. If you watch them stoned. I mean, that's the only way you get through it without going, humanity is destroyed itself.
Yeah, I've heard people say that. So yeah, so I gained a following that way too, and also just like I guess I'm good at like shit posting on Twitter and Facebook. So people just like the stuff that I choose to put out there, which is usually it's based on like, this is insane. Like I'll see something, I'll just think, wow, this is fucking crazy. And I'll just post it. And I won't even say anything most of the time, which I think is another thing people like about me in terms of my Twitter and Facebook is I don't tell people what to think or whatever. I just show them stuff and they're like, wow, this is fucked
Yeah,
up.
you put up something that happened where I'm at in Canada, where it was at a mosque,
Mm.
and everybody's screaming. The guy's got a knife, and he gets shot by a rubber bullet or a beanbag, and that diffuses the situation, which is good. But yeah, I mean, the guy just, I don't know, he goes to a mosque, and which it's really weird because everybody's like holding their shoes.
Yeah, yeah, that was just this morning. And I mean, it looked like the guy was either Muslim or maybe Sikh to me. Like it didn't look like a white guy doing it. But so who knows? Probably, probably like some just mentally ill
Yeah,
person or something.
yeah. So yeah. Anyways, I saw that. You put stuff like that on where I try and stay away from TV as much as possible. So, but when you go on social media, I mean, it could be a downer. I mean, people are just so, like, I saw a post where the young woman passed away yesterday. No matter, I don't care what, if you're Republican or Democrat or whatever, as long as you're a good person, I don't care. If you're a good communist, I don't care. You know, so yeah,
Yeah,
and
that was legitimately sad. Like I have a pretty thick skin, and I tend to laugh. I don't even, I mean, sometimes I get a little mad or I think, wow, that's stupid, but mostly I laugh at stuff for the most part, or I just think, well, this is where we're at. I'm pretty stoic, I guess, for the most part. But that legitimately made me sad. Her name's Ashley Babbitt. And I saw clips of her, when she was alive, and you can just tell that some people like when someone's like a good person, or a nice person,
yeah,
you just kind of tell.
yeah, it
So
was
yeah, that's
heartbreaking,
a
and it
bummer.
just the past. Uh, I mean, what? This is my take on what happened. I believe that just what's been going on in the states has just been like this powder keg. of just nonstop hate, you know, uh, just nonstop hate on both sides. But um, and it just blew up. I mean, I think they went to the Capitol and they went completely nuts, which doesn't help their party. Um, and it was just sad to see that the White House just being, I mean, other countries. I always think of other countries, and I'm like Russia, China, all these other must be laughing their asses off, just going, how can they, I mean, they stormed the Capitol, and I mean, some guy whips out his wang and rubs it all over Pelosi's desk, which is good for her. I mean, she's gonna be thrilled about that one. But you know what I mean? For that to happen at the Capitol, uh, it was a very I had to change a channel. I didn't want to watch it because I just thought
Well, I was kind of glued to
I
it
couldn't. I
on the
couldn't. It was
6th.
just
That
I
was
didn't want anybody to get
fascinating.
I didn't want anybody to get killed, which they did. As soon as I heard somebody got killed, I was like, I can't, I mean, I suck at watching games, because I get nervous because I got a lot of money on this.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm watching and I have to get up. I walk around there, the wife, she's like, here we go again. He's going for his walks, and I'm in and out of the room. So it was just very sad to see. How do you think all that happened? Like how it all went down?
Oh, I mean, the so it's a lot to do with the election, obviously, and people thinking that it was fraudulent, and obviously, like Trump was playing that up. I mean, I still don't even know what to think about the election personally, because there's a lot of like evidence that things were being done weird. But you would also think that they'd be able to prove it in court. So I mean, I don't know about all that, but like I do know that like a lot of the Q people, and this is even including people like Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell. I don't know if you know.
Who's the cute people?
Yeah, so this is kind of hard to explain, but like these are basically like the conspiracy
Okay,
theorists.
yes, that's what
And
yes.
like these people believe that like hackers from like Italy like shot satellite laser beams to steal the elect. They believe like crazy shit, man.
Right.
And there's a lot of them. So you
Wh-
know,
Yeah,
I don't think that's like that represents all the people who went to this march on the 6th. Like I heard there was 3 million people there. That's probably a large overestimate,
yeah.
but there's a lot of people there, and a lot of those people I think just wanted to show their support. Like it's kind of, we're kind of in a bad time, black pilled, as they would say on the internet, because the
What,
Democrats, the leftists have everything.
sorry, I hypocrite. I love that name. Remind me to ask you about the name. But
Sure.
uh, what does black pilled mean?
Yeah, I was like, should I even say this? Because I get the impression you're not as online as I am.
No,
You're
I
not
am,
an extremely
but
online
I
person.
don't like the whole uh, just the viciousness,
Mm,
right? Like just the absolute viciousness, and it's very frustrating. And I just see a great country like the United States, which, let's face it, a year and a half ago was doing great, and just to see this, like it's like the Roman Empire, or I mean, it's just this crumbling before your eyes,
hmm
and you worry because you go, God, I don't want that shit to come up here.
Yeah.
I don't want that to, because let's face it, we're America's little brother, uh, that you have to bring along everywhere. It's like, hey, you're going to war, yeah, take Canada with you. Come on, they'll bring the donuts, they'll do, you know what I mean? Like Canada is just, we pretty much do whatever you guys say. As much as people, will sit there and go, no, that's not true. Uh, no, it is true. Like we pretty much do whatever the states do. It takes a bit of time, but it does trickle down to us. So watching what's going on, man, I should have shaved. Look at this. Anyways, go. You know what I mean? Like, so I worry. I hope it doesn't. I hope I'm wrong, but it will eventually trickle down to us. Um, anyway, so what is that blue pill to mean?
There's all these different pills, but the black pill just means like kind of hopelessness and despair, right?
Right.
So when they say you're black pilled, it means like you don't think things are going to get better. You think things are going to just keep getting worse, basically. And so the reason we're in a very black pilled time is because the Dems control everything, the leftists, and it's unclear if the right will ever be able to get any kind of power back ever again, because if they keep changing the demographics and bringing in all these people who just vote left based off of their like the demographics, you're you're thinking we're never going to have another shot to have somebody like Trump come in and maybe actually fix things. Trump didn't really fix things. He just kind of slowed it down, but but he could have, or at least that was the hope.
Sorry, what do you mean Trump? I thought they, I thought somebody was showing me the facts. They're saying he did all this like peace accord stuff.
He did lots of good stuff, but I guess like what the main thing here is the demographic question. He didn't get the wall built, and I mean some other things too, like the whole social media censorship thing. He was never able to fix. So these are kind of like the big issues that people care about. He did a lot of good things, like he didn't start any wars and stuff like that, but um, what I want to say is like, so the nice thing about the march on the 6th and seeing all the people is that it was at least sending this sort of message of like, now I'm not talking about the riot and the insurrection, that just the march itself, like let's assume that it had just remained peaceful. It's sending a message that says like, even though we've lost all the power, we're still here. We, meaning people who just want to go to work, earn their paycheck, live in a safe neighborhood, and send your kids to school where they're not going to like teach your son he can grow a pair of tits if he wants. People like that are still here. So maybe we can do something. Maybe we can form our own communities somewhere or something like that, or
Well,
who
didn't
knows?
didn't I saw this thing where it was Ted Cruz wants, or I don't know if it's Ted Cruz. I guess he was the only guy that stuck up for Bush and that Lindsey Graham guy. I thought it was Democrats that were attacking him at an airport or something, but then I read it and it said no, these are Trump supporters. What did he do?
Well, I think Cruz objected to the electoral college certification. So as far as I know, he's like one of the good ones from the Trump perspective. I don't follow this stuff super closely, so I'm probably not the best person to ask for like the inside politics baseball shit. But Lindsey Graham and like Mitch McConnell, those guys are more like the Rhino Republicans who didn't object and basically are perceived to have not fought for Trump as hard as they should. And there's a lot. This is another reason like people are saying like the GOP is finished. And even if they like, if people who are like American firsters, as they tend to call it, like if they split off and form their own party, the idea that you're not like, going to switch to like a 3-party system and be able to beat the lefts who have more of a unified front is very dubious. But it's very split on the right now. There's a lot of people who are just like fuck the GOP, who consider themselves conservatives or right wingers.
Yeah, yeah. And in Canada we have the NDP, Liberal, Conservative, Green Party. Um,
The People's Party.
I think so, and then the Bloc, which is Quebec. A lot of
Yeah.
Americans are like, "What? What are you talking about the Bloc?" Block of cheese? What are you talking about? It's like block. There's like, if you look at the map of Canada, just say this is, looks like I'm doing like a penis symbol. All right, right here. This is like right here. This, okay, just say this is like Toronto, around this area. If you go up here, there's this whole area. It's all French. It's Quebec, and they speak French. And if you go up there, you you have a good chance of scoring because the women there are fantastic. So, yeah, anyways, it's a great place. But yeah, they got good laws there. And they have what's called the block. And years ago, I remember how serious this was. I Hypocrite. I always feel like calling you Gus, but I
You can call me LP if it's easier.
LP. Okay, LP.
Whatever.
LP.
Yeah.
I'll write that down. LP. But I love that I Hypocrite. I love that.
Sure.
I gotta get a cool name. The Amazing Vito doesn't do it. I need something like the Amazing Boosh.
The name has definitely helped me build a following, especially on like Twitter and Facebook, because people just assume I'm a gimmick account that I just post hypocrisy examples. A lot of people follow that. Next thing they know, I'm just shoving like, rape gangs in their face or whatever, whatever it is. Like, here's a red pill for you.
Right. No. And believe me, people appreciate what you do. I know that you were saying that you get a lot of hate, and you got to remember you're always going to get hate no matter what. But at least you're sticking by your principles, and I respect that. I don't care. I just think that that's cool that you're like, you know what, people like when you said earlier, like the names doesn't really matter or whatever. You've had people threaten you, and and I just think, what a scumbaggy. I've had that happen to me, and and it's just it's not I'm not as tough as I used to be, but everybody's tough in front of their computer.
Yeah, for sure.
So a buddy of mine named Gus, he said, the only thing that's saving them, Vito, is if you were at a bar and you were to talk to me like that, punch you in the mouth.
They wouldn't. That's the thing. They would never say shit to you in person.
Right.
These people,
but
99% of them anyway.
But if you go on the computer, if you go on Twitter or whatever, they'll say the most heinous things. They'll have like a fake name, and you're just like, I don't know who this person is. This person knows who I am. Like they could easily, I use my real name. You know what I mean? So I don't know who you are. So I always think it's just kind of pathetic when, I'm like, use your real name, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm in that camp too. A lot of people.
No, but if you were to threaten people, if you were to say, hey man, I wish death upon you and your family.
No, I'm not. So I say I agree with you. Like, I'm in the camp of like, use your real name, show me your face. Hey
man, if you're gonna be like that, use your real name.
Yeah.
So anyway, so there's this block.
Hey, Vito, I don't know if you know this, but I'm Canadian.
Are you?
I was trying to think.
You're in Quebec.
What?
Are you in Quebec? You know all this.
No, I've lived in Montreal for a couple years. I speak fluent French. I'm in Washington now. I just moved to.
Oh, I thought he was gonna pull out the French flag and.
No, well, it's still funny because it's like, if you thought I was American, you'd be right to assume that I know absolutely, because most Americans don't know jack shit about Canada. My wife is American, which is why I moved to Washington now, because that's where she's from. But like, she doesn't know shit about Canada at all.
Yeah, I'm amazed when I meet Americans and they're just like, they'll ask the stupidest things. Like
they don't know where Vancouver is. Like, they don't know anything.
They don't. They really don't. And Toronto, they're like, oh, so what's Toronto? And the whole area of Toronto, there's like 5 million people. It's a big city.
Yeah.
Like Ontario is, especially Toronto and Mississauga alone has 700,000, 800,000 people. So,
But I will say this, there's another side to that coin, which is that Canadians are always talking about what's going on in America, and they're always doing it with this kind of fucking air of superiority.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
oh, look at, oh, so I feel so bad for the Americans, you know. Well, feel bad for yourself,
Yeah,
bitch. You
exactly.
can't,
When
you
I'm
got
in the
less
States,
freedom,
when I'm in the
technically.
States, they are the best audience. They're just wonderful, and I don't, so it breaks my heart when I see this division and I'm like, I don't get that part of it. I hate that part of it. I want it to be everybody wants a nice, peaceful piece of the pie. But yeah, American audiences are they're the best. They're incredible laughers and just so it's just weird to see that how things are going. But yeah, so the American people, they don't know the Quebec, the French part of it, the bloc, I Hypocrite, that
Mhm.
at one time they want to succeed, like leave Canada, like not be part of Canada anymore, and
Yeah.
they came within a sea hair of accomplishing that. I remember how serious. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I like that was a long time ago. Like I was a kid,
Yeah,
or I was still in high school, at least, if not middle
I
school.
was an old man.
But I remember the referendum. That was a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that was very serious. So then I see that in the States where they're saying we should secede, like we should leave, and I'm thinking, oh man, you're carving up the country. Like that's how big the division is. Americans never spoke like that, never said we need to split this country up and we need to screw them, and New York will always be democratic, and California will always be democratic, and we don't like the way they run their cities, so we want, which is in a way weird, because a lot of, see, I thought Trump was going to win because a lot of people were leaving um uh, uh, California, Hollywood. Like they were leaving, they were moving to Texas. A lot of people from New York were leaving. And I thought they were leaving because they were angry at the Democrats, the way they were running the city. And that's what I thought, So when,
Well, if they had any self-awareness, this is something Americans talk about. So it's like almost a meme, which is that like left-wingers and socialists, they implement these policies where they live and the places go to shit, and so they leave if they have the money to leave, and they go somewhere else so they can implement the same policies, you know,
yeah, that's
so
what
they can
Joe
vote the
Rogan
same way.
said. Joe
Yeah.
Rogan was kind of pissed off where he was saying, I hope when they go to Texas that they know that it's a Republican state, and they don't vote Republican. I mean, they don't vote Democratic, because that's why they left.
Mhm.
And but it turns out they didn't. I mean, um, yeah, it was really, yes, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. This whole they're talking about conspiracy theories. Uh, right in the beginning, and we were talking a little bit about that, where they want to get rid of, they believe, like, they want to censor, they want to censor conservatives, right? So, um, like last night, I just checked my Twitter and it said Parler has been taken down. You know, Parler's been taken down. And I tried to go on Parler and I couldn't get on it. And then now I can. I got an account and I think I got two people following me, but I put jokey stuff on there. I can't. You know what I mean? Yeah, let's burn this down. I'm not. You know, I. So, anyways, I remember Johnny LaRue,
Johnny LaRue. It
John
sounds
Candy.
John Candy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
like
know John. Who's
you're
John?
you're a young man. I
I know John Candy, but who's Johnny LaRue?
used to be. They used to be the show called Second City. Okay,
Yeah, I've seen it.
and he was on there, and he was Johnny LaRue. He had a show
It's
called
a character.
Yeah, it was called Street Beat, and he'd walk around, and it was like all he ever wanted was a crane shot, but they would never give him a crane shot, so he would do these crappy, horrible, he hated walking around. He'd have a cigarette walking into restaurants and, talking to, he talked to an Oriental who was played by he can't do that anymore, but you watch it now, you're like, wow, that is so racist. But it
Yeah.
wasn't, it was just some actor playing a buffoon Oriental guy, right? So, anyways, Johnny LaRue for Christmas, he finally got it pans up and he gets his crane shot. And he's just like, I got my crane shot. You got folks, go Second City on YouTube, and it's some of the funniest stuff on there. And it's Johnny LaRue. Anyways, yeah, on Parlor, I'm Johnny LaRue because
Okay.
I just love Johnny LaRue. So that character.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. So, anyways, when I heard that they're banning Parlor and stuff and big tech, like conspiracy wise, do you think that people do have a legitimate case to be very, skeptical about what took place, during the election? Because it did seem like some weird stuff. And even the CBC up here was saying stuff like, oh, there goes Trump again, making stuff up. And it was just really weird.
So definitely there's some insane conspiracies. I feel like if the voting had really been hacked, and maybe I'm naive, like who the hell knows, but I feel like they would have been able to prove that. So I don't think that the votes were like massively hacked, because I just feel like that would have been too hard to get away with. But obviously I don't know, but there's other things like the like I don't think Trump could have lost without COVID and without the mail-in voting, because they did so much to make it easier to vote for people, which is why the turnout is so high. It's historically like blowing all the other elections out of the water, is because
Yeah,
it
my
was
God.
so easy to vote.
What did they have, like 3-year-olds voting now? Like what did
Well, I don't know about that, but
it was like
I,
80 million for Biden and 74, they said.
74 5, I think.
Yeah, 74 or 75 for uh, Trump. And yes, I agree with you. I think that if there wasn't COVID, if there wasn't that mail-in ballot, like, because I believe that all people care about is the economy, right? So the economy was going good, and then all of a sudden COVID hit. People were bent out of shape, no work, staying at home, and that's when this, we all know that spark that ignited that fire that caused rioting. And then you thought, well, they'll just riot for a couple of days, and then they started rioting in this street and rioting in this city and this city and then this city, and you're sitting there going, this is insane. This is like, when is this going to stop? And then they show a cop who, a guy, I guess they called the police, and you think everything's going to calm down, everything's just going to be okay now. They're starting, and then somebody gets shot again, and it just goes to hell. And so yeah, it just, as if if I was Trump, I'd be sitting there going, like, what did I do wrong? Like what like what I would just be, I think I'd be stunned. And I think the first time when they had the like, if we had the debate, when they had the debate, which was another dumpster fire, I think just the anger of the two parties, because Trump has felt like he's been attacked for over 3.5 years, and then Biden, uh, you know, uh, Biden, and then it was just weird. Like, it was just like this. Just, you knew that these two were. It was just going to be a yelling match. It was.
Yeah, it was kind of a low in terms of civility.
Yeah,
But I will say Biden like did better in the debate than I expected him to, and a lot of people expected him to. I think like we people like me have a little bit of an echo chamber effect where you're seeing is the clips of Biden fumbling over his words, of which there are endless, and you're just thinking, well, this guy can't even string a fucking sentence together. But it's like, actually he can. You're just seeing the all of the little edited parts where he fucks up.
I believe I have the exact same thing he does. You know what I have?
Mm,
Where I want to say something to you, but I say, because I'm severely dyslexic, right?
mm,
Don't tell anybody. I hate
okay.
I hate I hate people knowing this, but I suffer from dyslexia really really bad. So I'll fumble my words. So when I'm on stage, I already know what I'm going to do, and for some reason, once you're on there for about 2 minutes, you're calm, unless it's neo-Nazis staring at you or the Black Israelites, then you're kind of nervous. But if it's just a crowd, you kind of you don't fumble your words. But I don't fumble my words, but I think he does, and I think that comes with just with age and just he's thinking ahead, which screws up. When you're younger, it's easier to go, no, no, go slow
Mhm.
down, get your point out. But he gets, the cogs are going, they want to go 90 miles an hour, but they can't. So, but it's not, he's not stupid or God, anybody that's been in office for 47 years and uh, is a politician. You know how to talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 of
You just don't
course.
show up and people go, here you go. Here's the money. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
if you watched him in his younger days, he could talk. And when he was
yeah.
when he was with Obama, when he did get, when he could talk, he was very smooth. So to
Mhm.
see him the way like now, it just I do feel bad, but I don't think he's suffering from dementia. That people go, oh, he's got dementia.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
could. I hypocrite.
That's
He would not. They would not make him president.
yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I kind of fell for that meme, but when I watched the debates, I was like, oh, this guy can actually string a sentence together. He's not totally retarded. Um, Not to pivot too hard, but can we talk about comedy a little bit? Because the politics stuff I talk about all the time,
Sure. What do
and
you? What do
it's
you?
kind of boring to me. And you're a comedian, and I never get to talk about this because I really like stand-up comedy. I used to watch it all the time, all the stand-up sets, and it sucks now. For like the last three or four
Have you seen
years,
any of my stand up?
I haven't seen yours. I haven't seen
So
yours, but I watched like the Netflix specials. It's like the
you,
you
you
know, like
you you should watch it, and then that way, like you would say, Vito, let's talk about politics.
good one.
So, that's cool. I want to talk to him about politics. He's like, no, no, I want to talk to you about comedy, buddy. Are you kidding me? All right, sure. What do you want to know? You know, uh, lockdown has been an absolute, it's destroyed everything. You can't go to, theaters. You can't, there's clubs are closing down because of this. Um, so to earn a living has been absolutely crap. You could tell I haven't changed the backdrop here. I love this show. God, I'll figure this out, man. I'll figure this out. Anyway, so yeah, it's been shit. I mean, when I talked to Aaron, it was awesome because but Aaron is he's in the States. He's in, I believe he's in New York. And there were 18, like he told me there was 18 comedy clubs. Um, and they're all closed. And he has to go to like Florida. So figure about how much it costs. And not all clubs are open up in Florida, right? So you got to think cost wise to say, okay, just say I got to go to Orlando and play a club. is it going to be worth taking the flight, even though the flight will be empty? That's so weird, eh? So to take the flight, uh, I got to at least get 4 or 5 rooms down there. How many shows am I doing? You got to look because you want to come back with some money. The kids want Nintendo. So, or what is it? He got PlayStation 5. So yeah, and I've got a yeah. Anyway, so that's what for comedy wise. It just has not been a good. Uh, it hasn't been good.
Right. I get that it's been a rough year with COVID, but what I wanted to touch on was like that, and I don't like, maybe it's different when you're watching little guys in clubs and shit like, because I'm not really doing that. I'm watching like the specials on Netflix and stuff like that. And for several years, it's just been absolutely terrible, and I hate it all, except for Dave Chappelle's stuff and Norm Macdonald. But even that is not as good as their old stuff. Like Dave Chappelle's old stand-up sets is like some of the greatest comedy of all time. You know what I mean? And he's still like, his new stuff is still better than the rest, but it's not as good. It's still like tainted. You can it's like there's this oppressive force, like a weight, you know what I mean, holding all the comedians down.
Well, what it is society, right? Like you saw where Kevin Hart, who's he's a funny man, where for him to um, to do what was it,
The
not the Golden,
Oscars, or
yeah,
the
the
Oscars,
Oscars.
yeah.
Yeah, it was the Oscars. He made a joke 15 years ago, a homophobic joke, and he apologized, and they just kept wanting him to apologize and apologize and all. And you know what? He just said, forget it. Like I don't need this. I'm doing you guys a favor. If you wanted to be entertaining and fun, yeah, book me. But if not, I've already apologized or whatever. And Chappelle and all those guys, they could go balls to the wall. Like if you go to a comedy club, if you saw Chappelle just at a comedy club, they
Yeah.
tell you to put your phone away.
Mm-hmm.
You're not taping anything. You're gonna see you'll walk out of there like in pain, like
I believe it.
of just going, I can't believe he said that. That was the funniest thing in the world, you
Yeah.
know. And there's so many guys. So if you get a chance, go to a comedy club and go see, because it's a very different vibe than sitting in front of uh you know
Cameras.
well,
TV.
Netflix, right? Like
Yeah.
you're watching it, and you're kind of, you're laughing because the audience is laughing, or and not really with Dave Chappelle, you're laughing because he's funny,
He is
but
funny, yeah.
it's a different show, because
Yeah.
he'll have handlers just go, Dave,
You can't say this, you can't,
yeah,
yeah.
like let's go through the set list. We could make this funny, but and which I'm sure kills him. Like just sits there and goes, you know what? But when they shove 60 million bucks in your pocket, you're like, all right, I won't do I won't do that, or I'll change this around, no problem. Um, it's just sad to see that comics are being told, hey, this is what you can or can't say. Um, and to me, that's just no good. You should, the king, when he had the king, the only person that make fun of the king was the jester, right? The king
Right,
needed one.
right, yeah.
Society needs a jester, and is
Yeah, someone where the rules are like they don't apply, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
You ever see Don Wrinkles, where where he'd walk around, he'd just go, hey, I remember you. Your uncle was, I was in the jungle with your uncle. He was trying to kill me for 9 months. You know, I mean, he would just get these hysterical laughs, and he would, make fun of Wilt Chamberlain, and and Sammy Davis Jr. and give me a break. Like it wasn't, and those guys loved each other. Like the Rat Pack, Sammy, they all
Yeah,
loved each other. So it was like, and then you see like Opie and Anthony, where they would have uh He passed away. He was very funny. Oh God, I can't believe I forgot his name. Oh my God, I just had it. Patrick. He's a big dude. He does a nasty show. Uh, God, help me. Would you help me?
Petrillo niece?
Yeah, but Patrice. So
Patrice, that's yeah.
yeah, incredibly funny man.
Is it
And
Patrice O'Neill? I did a dyslexic thing there. Anyway,
okay, just keep making fun of my pain. So
yeah.
Vosh is writing this down, going, "That son of a bitch." When I see him make fun of my fat ass wife, so anyway, so yeah, Patrice will some of the stuff he said.
He is really funny.
Oh, before he passed, is just somebody you wish stuck around. You know, you wish he didn't pass because he was so damn funny. You know, if you ever get a chance, watch him do the Nasty Show. My God, it is you just you literally, you know, people go, how can you laugh at that? And I'm like, how can you not? You know, I mean, you know, it's just the whole point is to people want to get away,
Yeah, let off some steam.
let
Yeah.
off some steam. If you don't like the stuff, just leave, you know, but you're there, you know, it's him. Do a little bit of homework. You've seen him on YouTube and television, but he was this guy that where him and another uh, Nick DiPaolo, they would go at it on the show together. And at the end of the day, they were buddies. They would have these arguments about race and what's this mean and what's this mean and have these, and at the end of the day, they loved each other. You know, they just said, "Hey, all right, whatever, white boy," you know, and they still had that respect where most people today are just, you know, and they say the most brutalist things, but it's just two guys rapping, having fun. You know, I had this talk with uh, uh, Richard Carrier, and you know, I just said, you know, when I talk to my buddy, you know, I'll use a slang. I don't use the N word, but I just use a slang or whatever. And he's like, you shouldn't do that, you know. And I'm like, why? He's my buddy. He knows I'm joking. Yeah, but those are hurtful. And I'm just like, dude, this is coming from a guy who's a swinger who he has a book tour, and all he does is like he's like, okay, I'll be in Buffalo, I'll be in New Brunswick, I'll be here, and then I'll call Mandy, let her know I'm coming over to Port Cur. I mean, he couldn't get laid in a morgue the way the guy looks, you know. But you know, now that he's a famous atheist that writes books, he could, you know, have sex with these women that wouldn't even look at the guy. So now it's like he's in the, you know, he's all alone. He's got the keys to the candy factory, right? And I'm sitting there going, he's talking to me about my childhood friend that I can't call him, you know, a slur. It's just me and him. We're buddies. We've known each other for 30 years. There, you know, or more than that, 35 years. And it's just, give me a break, pal. You know, so some people just don't get it.
Yeah, you're married, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I notice this because like I'm always observing things and like I'm on Twitter a lot and there's a lot of these, OnlyFans girls and shit. And I always, and a lot of horny dudes, a lot of coomers, as I like to call them. That just means like somebody who watches a lot of porn.
What's it called?
Coomer. It's like cum, but it's coom.
Coomer?
Yeah, coomer.
I'm a really big coomer.
So what I was gonna say is like I noticed it's often the people like that who want to come after you for the political correctness shit. They want they want to say like you shouldn't say this or something you did is racist or homophobic or whatever. And my big theory is that it's people that have like looser morals in their personal life.
Yeah, it's weird, eh? It's like
That
seeing that, it's like seeing that preacher that tells you that, you know, being gay is a sin and you're going to burn in hell if you're gay. And then they got caught, in a hotel room with a gay lover smoking crack.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. It's just I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Um Speaking of comedy, I tried to watch my wife and I tried to watch Kevin Hart's new special and we had to turn it off after 15 minutes. This came out like 6 months ago or something.
I didn't
It
see
was
it.
it was really not funny. And
Is he,
even like
is he up there just yelling and stuff?
no, like Kevin Hart, I think he's funny. Like I remember watching one of his older ones and I thought it was really funny, but he come out he had like six different groups of like couples watching like a really small set, not a big like theater or whatever, and they're all wearing masks, COVID masks, and I I don't know. He's just started like his first like the first 10 minutes were just so not funny. Like one of his big jokes was he was calling COVID the vid. He's like, who's got the vid? I call it the vid. Y'all got the vid. And he like it just wasn't funny. But I like Kevin Hart, but I just feel like most stand-up sucks. Even Bill Burr's special that came out about a year and a half ago wasn't that funny. He's talking about how the political correctness. He's kind of doing this like I'm a comedian. I'm going to joke about how you can't be funny anymore, and it's like I understand what you're saying and I agree with you, but I just want to fucking laugh, man. Say something funny.
I think it's probably because, and I don't want to make excuses, but I think once if you see somebody for the first time, I remember seeing uh, Eddie Murphy the very first time, Sam Kinison the very first time, and you're like, you just get hit by this wave of just, oh wow, this guy is just incredibly funny. And then you see their next special, and like George Carlin. I love George Carlin, but by the end, George Carlin just to me was just this. He just seemed like he was just angry and annoyed at the world and
Yeah.
just complain. He was like the uncle, Thanksgiving uncle that you know didn't show up this year. You kind of get used to it, and
It's
I
diminishing returns is what you're
it,
saying.
the
Yeah.
problem is just society has made it that these guys are worth. I mean, for Kevin to do that, and Bill Berg, I think he's one of the. A lot of people go when I get pissed off on stage. You're like you're just like him.
Bill Burr has some of the funniest. He has like that bit on motherhood, and
Oh,
like people say motherhood is the hardest job. Like tell that to a clone. Like that shit's fucking hilarious, man. It's so funny. I'm not saying Bill Burr isn't funny. I'm just saying his new special from that came out in the last 2 years wasn't like his old stuff to me.
because I do a bit about childbirth where I go, women say they have it bad, where I'm like, try not taking a dump for 3 days and try and pass that baby. You know what I mean? Like like give me a break. That is pain pure. I can't do it all here, but anyway, so uh, I just think, and I remember doing a show just before they did another lockdown up here, and I had I told the guy because he lost the audience, and I told him right off the top. He goes, I got a COVID joke, and I go, don't do it, please don't. Why? And I hate telling people, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But people are we got them out of the house.
Right.
Let's keep them out of the house. I go, you're just gonna freak people out. I knew, like I think in pictures, right? So, I remember a comic, he would do this bit about how um, a child was eaten to death by a pit bull, and and it never.
I'm already laughing just because it's so horrible,
It's so, but the thing is, I had a small child
Yeah.
and I was like, you lost me. That to me is not funny because I think about the pain and suffering of that child that just destroys me. So I cannot, anything you say now, I don't find funny because you lost me. So and you know, for me, if you see my stand up, there's nothing brilliant about it. It's just being an idiot, doing, silly, stupid, simple magic, and then doing jokes in between. So, uh, there's nothing about killing and, people dying. And, I just wanted to be fun, So, and back to Bill Berg and those guys. Those guys are still incredibly funny. They still demand a lot of money, but again, I Hypocrite. They're gonna have people saying, "Yeah, that joke." Like, okay, uh, I don't know about doing that. And when they shove like 15, 20 million in your face,
Sure.
and you've been working like that guy, like these guys, you got to remember, you know, you strive for that. It's like a boxer for that big payday, right?
Yeah.
So you get all these crappy fights. You end up sleeping in the car, and you sacrifice a lot, and then the big payday comes where Netflix or whoever says we're going to give you like 10, $50 million for this special, because you're the hottest comic right now and we're going to give it to you. You're like, dude, you will do anything in your power not to screw that up. So
Mm.
even if you did make that 50 million the first time, you bought a bit, you bought a $10 million home, you bought all this stuff, you bought all that, and you're like, I gotta make another payday.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I don't want to give excuses to these guys. I mean, but to me, that's what I just see the way society is uh so this isn't funny. You can't make fun of that. God, have you ever see Bill Berg like 15, like what was it, a while ago, when he was in Philadelphia and he insulted the whole city, you know. He
Yeah.
he literally he did a show and they were just rude to him. They were heckling and and it was the best. Look it up. It's like
I think I've seen that. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was done. Like I listened to it like maybe 10 times in a row because I was just like, this is the funniest. Just because we've all been there where you're on stage, you're trying to get through your set, and it's called reading the telephone book. When they're not listening, just do your
Mm.
set. Who cares? You're getting paid. So
Yeah.
if they don't want to laugh, they don't want to laugh. You just do your set and that's it. Which sucks, but you got to do your time, right? And uh, you know, he was out there and he was just like, you know what, screw this. You're not going to get the best of me. You're not going to piss me off. I'm going to piss you off. I hope the bridge that leads out of this piece of shit town, you know, explodes with you guys on it and you all die and you're all, it was just the funniest thing in the world. And we've come so uh, backwards now. Now everything you say I see sportscasters where like one guy will talk about a black player and he made a good point. He said, hey man, you're only going to make, the average of an NFL player, I guess, is 3 to 4 years. So you're going to
Mm.
make those millions of dollars. So the problem is these young guys, they think they're always going to make that money.
Lots of those NFL dudes go broke. I read that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's all this man was trying to say. And he was saying, like you got to be smart. You got to, save your money. And oh, they lambasted him. And it's just like, and all he was trying to do was, it was like an older man. If a younger comic wants any advice from me, I tell him, don't do what I'm doing. And just if they want to listen to some advice, I give them some advice. If they don't, you don't have to. But because when I was starting out, you crave that. You wanted to pick the headliners because you want the headliner's job.
Mhm.
It's weird, you know what I mean? Like you're a young comic and you come up to me and it's like, you pretty much want my job,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, hey, dude, how do I get your job? And I just tell you, just be funnier. Just, when you go out there, you're opening up for me, make it difficult for me.
Mm.
Make the 20 minutes that you're out there, you're going to hammer them with your best stuff, right? And then you're going to make my life so much harder because now I got to get them to laugh. So and that's what Bill Berg said. It's the truth. I mean, that's why uh these guys command serious money because they went out there. I mean, Chris Rock,
Mm.
who I'm convinced hates white people, unless it's Adam Sandler calls him and he's like, I love you, I love cha-ching. But he's like um he would go there to clubs and just constantly go, how do I get better? How do I get better? How do I get better? And he would go all the time, all the time, all the time. And then just became, I mean, if you watched early Chris Rock, you were like, man, this guy is just the funniest man on the planet. And everybody at one time, Carlin, Murphy, Bill Berg, what's his name that whipped out his dick and got in trouble? Uh,
Louis C.K.
Louis, you know, at one time they were all considered the funniest people on the planet, you know, and they could command that money, which we all, wouldn't that be awesome? I Hypocrite if somebody, an agent called you up and go, listen, Netflix called, we got a deal here. We can get you for, they want 15 million, I believe. We get them for 20.
Yeah, no, it'd be pretty sweet. I mean, I'm not calling out Bill Burr and
You should, man. You totally
Chris Hart
should.
to say. I'm not saying like, wow, they've really fallen off. They're not funny. I'm more trying to say if these guys can't be funny right now, well, like what is going on? Is it just me? I don't think it is me though.
No, it's
I
not.
think it's like this oppressive sort of the fear of saying the wrong thing and
That's
having
why
everyone
that's why I had to totally change my act.
right. You say one wrong thing and then you
Yeah.
can't host the Oscars
Yeah.
anymore, right? So
Even if you
there's
say you're sorry. And I'm not the same person I was, 15, 20 years ago or 5 years ago. I mean, there are people that I've hurt that, just sets the most vile, horrible things to that I think about and I just go, like I feel like such a maggot for doing that, you know. And if you don't grow as a person, like I try my best to, I had a guy on Facebook going, he wanted to friend me on Facebook and I'm kind of leery because it's just like you're like, it's like, your family's on there or whatever. He's like, no, man, we went to school together. And I was like, I don't know who you are. And
yeah.
he's like, you were really funny in high school and you used to stick up for me. You always used to stick up for me. And that was very sweet, and I remember, uh, the guy did get bullied a lot. And yeah, I would run in there and everybody that would think I was this obnoxious rocker metal guy, uh, uh, if I saw something bad happen to you, I didn't take any joy on that. I again, dyslexia, school was not fun. So to see somebody get hurt, I didn't like that, but I could make people laugh. I mean, my law teacher, I used to have teachers having to leave the room, because they didn't want the students to see that they would be laughing. Then they would come back and saying, you know, or when I remember my law teacher, I failed law, but he goes, you should, his name was Clark. He goes, you should be a comedian. When he came back, after he laughed for like 10 minutes in the hallway, he's like, he just comes in and comes up to me and he goes, and I thought he was going to like yell at me. And he goes, you should be a comedian. And that's when, you start thinking, yeah, maybe I should. Because when your friends tell you, you're like, ah, they're just being. But when you have adults constantly telling you that, then you kind of you say, all right, and then you go to an open mic night and you go, this is terrifying. I never want to be here. I hate it here. It's like Vietnam, man. Like yeah, it can be a very scary thing going to your first open mic because everything's easy at home, and then as the day gets closer, you feel you could do it two ways. And I tell a person for their first time, please don't think of it as going to the gallows. Think of it as your rebirth. You're going to have fun. This is what you want to do. You're not even getting paid, dude. So if it sucks, say goodnight and, that's it. Do 3 minutes and hop off the horse. Don't worry about it. I wish I had that advice. There was no school. There was no coconut college for me. It was just learn by going up. And I hypocrite. You'd be like, Vito, I think I got some jokes. And all right, tell me. Great. All right, I'll give you a little bit of advice. But the only way you're gonna know is you going out there. I mean, you got all the followers that you did, and people listen to you and watch your 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 videos, and because they genuinely like you. They don't or they hate you. But either way, they're watching you, right? So that's an awesome thing.
Yeah, I had come close to doing a stand up at an open mic once. I'd always wanted to see if I could pull it off, and I wrote some jokes, and I had like some kind of gimmicks that I thought up. But I tried it out on my family, and they were like, "No, don't do this." Or like they're like, "You can't say that," or "I don't get this joke. I don't understand," and this and that. So I never did end up going through it. Um, I gotta say I'm running out of time here.
Oh,
We picked
so
yeah, I'm not. I'm gonna have to go soon because we picked a bad day because I didn't get my episode done last week, and I have a double episode to do tomorrow, and
sorry, I
my
wasn't
episode
even
only
looking at
tonight.
the time, man.
No, it's all good, but yeah, just letting you know
But yeah, just real quick, I just think it's just society has just forced people, because if you do say the wrong thing now more than ever, it's not like before. I mean, now it's just they crucify you. And I honestly, and I talked to Aaron about this.
Oh,
They want
sneeze, sorry.
it's all right. People want to see you fail. For some reason they want to see you fail.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's one thing I've learned. People, even people who follow you, who like you, they'll still love to see you stumble and fall. Like people who haven't maybe achieved the kind of thing that you have. That I don't know. I don't want to get into psychology too much, but like, yeah, people just love to see someone fall on their face, no
Yeah.
matter who it is. No matter who it is. Um, oh fuck, what was I going to say? There was something else too. I don't know. I lost it.
Okay, I know we picked a bad day, but I really wanted to talk to you about next time. This is what I want to like. Are conspiracies good? You know what I mean? Like, or is it good? This is what the topic I wanted to have.
Well, the short answer is no.
No, but do you think when they say they're going to, like, do they mean when conspiracy, like, are they going to take off videos of Bigfoot? And I could care less, but are they going to take stuff like that? UFOs? There's a big community of people that believe the planet is flat. Are they going to say, we got to get rid of it? This is all gone. This is gone. This is gone. You know what
Well,
I mean?
well, conspiracies are not good as a really short, broad answer, but free speech is good. So it's better to let those people do their thing. And there's just going to be some idiots out there who buy into it, no matter how ridiculous it is. And you can't talk any sense into them. Like they just want to believe, they want it, whatever it is, to be the case. But it's better to just let that happen than to start, because once you start saying, well, we can't allow this, it's the slippery slope, it just keeps going and going and
Right.
going. We had National Enquirer crazy shit on the stands for my whole life. George Bush is actually a fucking clone
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever on the
A lizard.
cover.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This was never considered like a threat to the fabric of society, but now it is. So
I just think that I don't know if I mean I love watching just real quick anything to do with uh UFOs or whatever, and half the time it's just I'm like, it's just a lens flare or whatever, but I still think it just keeps your mind uh going, there's gotta, who are you hurting? If it's something
yeah,
that you enjoy, if it's something that, if it's like Bigfoot or whatever and you enjoy it, you're passionate about it, that's your deal, no problem. And who am I to come along and go, you know screw you, you're an idiot, and anything you do about Bigfoot, I'll make sure it doesn't get on. And I'm like, you're just, to me, you're kind of like that's being a bully, you know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, yeah. I don't know what to say. It comes from there's obviously conspiracy theories that are more, I guess, controversial than aliens and Bigfoot, which is like how it starts, right? It's like Pizzagate is a big thing, and then some
Yeah, yeah.
guy goes to like shoot up a pizza place, and that's where they say, okay, we have to shut this down. And can kind of understand where they're coming from when you put it in that context. But the problem is that once you start deciding what people are allowed to talk about, you just keep adding more and more things to that list, and it becomes the cure eventually becomes worse than the disease. That's what I think.
Very well said. All right, well, listen, I know you got to get going, but we got to do another one of these when you got time. I know I picked the.
Yeah, it's just a busy time, busy weekend for me.
All right, well, listen, enjoy the. I just took down the Christmas lights and nearly broke my neck. So, um, so, anyways, next time we're going to talk about uh, gay Nazis. So it's going to be awesome. It'll be fantastic.
Sounds
Uh,
good.
the Fifth Reich or the Fifth Rainbow. We'll talk about that, and I appreciate your time. I enjoy your feed on Twitter, and I'll put up a link and follow I Hypocrite.
Don't know
His,
how much longer I'm gonna have the Twitter account the way things are going, but
yeah, I know. That's what I hear from a
still
lot.
there last time I checked.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, that's what I want to talk to you about more, like the purge. When I hear this thing,
Yeah, I know. It's like I said, this is what I live this shit day in and day out, but I never get the chance to talk about comedy. So I just wanted to
okay,
I
well,
wanted to touch on that.
next time we'll do a show just dedicated on this whatever the topic we pick, and then if you ever want to do a show about comedy and that and whatever, you're more than welcome because I enjoy talking to you.
Sounds good.
I appreciate you taking the time, man.
All right, thanks, Vito.
Okay, take care and be good. All right,
Sounds good. Bye.
ciao.